Now, Carlo Ancelotti is the only manager in this world to have won league titles in the top 5 leagues and 4 Champions League trophies. And I strongly believe that he's not given the appreciation he deserves. Now, people like to bring this argument that it is because of the quality of his players and not because of his tactical expertise that he wins the titles. And I understand where they're coming from. We are used to seeing coaches like Guardiola's, Mourinho, Jurgen Klopp, who are so out there. These guys, they not only win games, but they are so good at marketing themselves. So a neutral football fan would forget the greatness of a coach like Ancelotti. He does not blame his players when he loses, or the management for the lack of investments, or the referees for that matter. Even when he's winning the games, you won't see him celebrating like crazy. He'd be like, we won because we have the best players in the world. Even when he loses, he'll have a simple response like, I got it wrong in this game. So in our minds, we don't feel like he's doing something great. It's like a very normal thing for him. There is never much drama surrounding Don Carlo. And he's not the only manager who does that. There are a few of them I feel, like Zidane, like Hansi Flick, like Valverde. These coaches belong to this category who are great man managers and their players respect them. But today, we'll talk about Carlo Ancelotti and specifically about why he's the most suitable manager for Real Madrid, the biggest club in the world. We'll discuss how difficult it is to manage a club like Real Madrid and how underappreciated is the work he has been doing in the Spanish capital. Now, different clubs have different identity. Like in Barcelona, you have to play total football, the tiki-taka inspired by Johan Cruyff. In Bayern Munich, it has to be a hard-pressing game, they call it gegenpressing. Italian football is more about defensive solidarity. And at Real Madrid, it's about instilling this winning mentality in the players and fighting to win till the last minute of the match. Madrid as an institution have based their identity on winning trophies. And managers there operate on a high-pressure environment. They have to be on their toes to deliver, which for obvious reasons is not easy to sustain. So we have divided the video in 5 parts to help you explain the incredible job that Carlo Ancelotti has been doing in the past few years. So being two of the most iconic clubs in Spain and European football for that matter, managing Real Madrid or Barcelona are few of the hardest jobs in football. You recently saw Xavi announcing that he would be leaving at the end of the season, and there is a reason for that. Understand this, Barca are not doing good financially, and to have good players in your academy is a blessing. But realistically, it's hard for them to compete without proper investment even against the teams in Spain. Forget about the teams like Bayern Munich and Manchester City. And everyone, including the media and the fans, knows the situation, but it was brutal out there for Xavi. He could not handle the pressure and decided to quit. And the situation at Real Madrid is not much different. Yes, in terms of their finances, they have been doing excellent. But the pressure is on the same level. I would even argue that it's on the higher side. They have this obligation to perform well domestically and of course in the Champions League as well. Their fans call them Reyes de Europa, that means Kings of Europe. Their management themselves have high standards. They've worked hard to keep their financial situation in a better place than other clubs. They renovated the Bernabeu to be the best stadium out there, provided the players with the best training facilities, so they expect their managers and the players to maintain those high standards as well and deliver on the field. When things don't go their way, you'd see a manager like Conte complaining for the players, or a coach like Ralf Rangnick demeaning the management. But these things does not happen at Real Madrid. First of all, the players are mostly scouted and bought based on the agreement of Perez and higher-ups in the management. I can imagine Carlo Ancelotti giving some inputs, but decisions are made based on what the management think can be a long-term success at Real Madrid. Like the signing of Jude Bellingham was totally a decision of Real Madrid management, which I'm not saying is wrong, but most managers would not be happy if their management keeps stacking up the midfield. And I think if it were up to Ancelotti, he would have brought a defender in the January transfer window and a Benzema replacement in the summer, which brings me to my next point. Now, if you remember last season, the only trophies Real Madrid won were UEFA Super Cup, Club World Cup and Copa del Rey. And they lost out on Champions League and La Liga. And the season was considered to be a failure. And the voices that were coming out sounded like Ancelotti needed to strengthen the team by bringing in a forward to support Benzema and a wing back. And not only Ancelotti was not provided with those signings, but Benzema also led for the Saudi League. And when that happened, many media outlets reported that Ancelotti wants Harry Kane. And when he was asked about this topic in the press conferences, he would be like, we have a complete team and we would be competing for all the trophies. Dude, your top scorer just left, his backup left, and you just bought a 34-year-old Joselu. And not only that, during the season, Madrid faced multiple injuries in important positions. They lost their starting centre-backs and goalkeeper for the whole season. In fact, Alaba's injury happened before the January transfer window, and Ancelotti even said this in a post-match conference that we might need a defender in January. But he got no players, while the most big clubs were improving their squad for the most important part of the season. But Carlo did not create any toxicity. He changed the system to accommodate the players he has and even got Joselu and other players to perform. Also won the Spanish Super Cup, beating Atletico and Barca during that time. Which brings me to my next point. Now we have seen coaches who tremendously improve players like Klopp or Guardiola, or managers who are making a team and implementing their system, like what Tuchel did for Chelsea or Xabi Alonso now for Leverkusen. And that's the idea. When you hear a team or a manager creating a project, it is that getting the suitable players, improving and making them understand the system of the manager. Getting the desired players in this market is a tough ask. You get some, you lose some. And then adjusting the available players to the manager's system and getting the results out of them, it's not easy. As an example, you can see how Tuchel's Bayern Munich have suffered this season. And with Ancelotti, it's not only different, but more suited for the situation in Madrid. Now, a fan looking from outside would say that it's Real Madrid and they can buy whoever they want. But it's not like that. Finances of clubs like PSG and City are much better than that of Real Madrid. And also, as I mentioned before, it's the management who has the main say in the transfer matters. So forget about getting those players who are suited to your system. And Ancelotti does not really have a fixed system. He operates within what he has and understands what the strengths of his players are. And his best quality is creating a system which suits those players. You look at Madrid's 2014 Champions League winning squad, and how they played was much different from their 2022 Champions League winning squad, which again is very different from their team this year. But it's the same coach, some new and some similar faces, but all on the same page. I remember when Lopetegui became Madrid's coach, he played Toni Kroos as a defensive midfielder, and Kroos performed really bad. Madrid as a whole was not on their best. They were bad on the pitch, players were unhappy, and just after a few months, he was asked to leave. See, Lopetegui, like most coaches, wanted to implement his system, but at Madrid, it's not easy. If you see what Madrid has been doing for past few years, they don't just buy anyone if they have a player missing in any position. They did not replace Benzema with any other forward. They are waiting for Mbappe, not anyone to replace Casemiro. They wanted Tchouaméni. They are waiting for Alphonso Davies to replace Marcelo. Madrid's management have been identifying the players who can potentially be the best in their positions in future, and they try their best to sign them, thus creating a team with talented youngsters and an experienced core. So whoever is Madrid's manager cannot keep demanding the players who can be suitable for his system. He has to somehow get the best out of the players he has been provided by the management. And I don't think there's a better manager in the world than Carlo Ancelotti for doing this, which brings us to our next point. Ancelotti changes the system. He deals with many injured players, thus limited rotations. He changes the player's position like a madman. Still, player seems happy and respect him. You are seeing what's happening this season. Vini and Rodrigo are pure wingers who are now playing as inside forwards. Bellingham, a midfielder, played false 9. Camavinga's playing left back. Tchouaméni and Carvajal played as a centre back. Last season he played Valverde as a right back. Still no one complains or looks frustrated. I remember when Mourinho was Madrid's coach and he was constantly asked why he was benching Pepe, and he bursted on the reporters saying that Pepe's problem was Varane and stuff like Pepe cannot perform on Varane's level. I can imagine how toxic that can be in the dressing room, which both Pepe and Varane had to share at that time. Now compare that with Modric this season. Now he has not been playing as much as he would like. Now he's a club legend and things are not perfect. He would obviously want to play more often, and being a club legend, you can imagine benching him would create problems. But still, we haven't heard any frustrated comments from Modric, Ancelotti or the fans. And according to some recent rumors, Ancelotti offered him a chance to be with him in the coaching staff next season. Now Modric accepts that or wants to play for some more years is his choice. My point is, Ancelotti manages his players well. And that creates a cohesive unit that have a great understanding within the team and the coaching staff, which results in a team that fights for each other, generating better performances. And to create this sort of environment in a team like Real Madrid, which has serious squad depth with youngsters and veterans, is not easy. Which brings us to my last point. Florentino Perez is very close to creating Galacticos 2.0, and if there is someone who can keep those egos in check, it's Carlo Ancelotti. It's no secret that Mbappe can play for Real Madrid next season. I just made a video on what would that mean. You guys can check that out as well. Anyways, I understand that he might still join some other club, but it seems likely that he would join Real Madrid. Now, if he does that, I believe a major reason for that would be this man. He is seeing how he has been managing the team and have taken the game of players like Vinicius and Bellingham to another level. So a Real Madrid team with Ancelotti in charge becomes a destination that's very suitable for next stage of Mbappe's career. We all discussed how Mbappe and Vini both operates best from the left wing. And I don't know if Ancelotti has been preparing Vini for the next season, but he has made us a pure number 9. Now all three of them can play a free-flowing attack next season. So I believe Ancelotti is the most suited manager for Mbappe's transition to Real Madrid. And why do I say that is because Mbappe is a serious talent and Ancelotti is someone he would respect. He can mold his talent in the right direction and make best use of his skills. Now a few anecdotes before I end the video. I remember when he returned during the 21-22 season, he started a front three of Bale, Benzema and Hazard, and by the end of the season, Rodrigo and Vini became his preferred choice. Vinicius became a world-class player that year and scored 40+ goals and assists for the first time in his career, even scored in the Champions League final. Rodrigo also improved, made his presence felt and scored important goals in the clutch moments, completing Real Madrid comebacks. Any other manager would have asked for new signings after seeing the injury crisis with Hazard and the situation with Gareth Bale. But Ancelotti won them the league and the Champions League that year. And as we discussed, even in this season, he saw Benzema leave and a stacked up midfield. He did not complain, he adapted. He created a system which involved more midfielders. He started playing a 4-4-2 formation. And everyone said that this system will not suit players like Vinicius and Rodrigo. The team would struggle to score goals. And Don Carlo said, no problem, I will make Bellingham score goals. Thanks in Brahim Diaz, and what performance he gave this season. No one expected that. So basically what I want to say is, he's no Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp. But Ancelotti has a different understanding of the game and the way he wants his team to play. His relationship and communication with the management, the players and the fans is very balanced. And the kind of institution that Real Madrid is, or the team they are trying to create, Carlo Ancelotti would be the most suitable manager for that. And that, guys, will be the end of this video. You can like it if you found it interesting. You can share it with your friends. Also, you can let me know your thoughts. I respond to every comment. Subscribe to Football Ledger and check out the other videos. See you on the next one. Ciao.